Hello and welcome to the Men's Corner podcast. I'm your host, George Stoimenov. Welcome. Today I would like to tell you a story about my relationship with alcohol and how that is related to adventure. We're talking about how men have adventure, the desire for adventure built into them, and things that numb that desire later in life very often. So in my case, I did not realize that I had a problem. Not a problem with alcohol, like I was getting drunk. I've not been drunk, just for the record. I've not been drunk since my 20s, my early 20s. However, I had a habit of every 2 or 3 days or so to have a couple of beers with some crisps, with some nuts, and watch things. Watch a movie or watch a TV show, just indulge or listen to a podcast. I had wine always when I had pasta or certain meals, and a little bit of bourbon when I sit outside with a cigar. So per week, I never had a week without alcohol, some form of alcohol. I did not realize that that was a problem. Not a problem in terms of alcoholism, but in terms of why I was needing it. There is a very interesting thing that was revealed to me on my spiritual journey recently. But just to tell you a little bit about that, back in 2011, I started a spiritual journey. I was called, I would say, into a spiritual journey, and it started in Zambia. I embarked on a journey of faith. Ever since that journey, I've been called to be out of my own comfort zone, to just leave my own limitations and to explore what's life really about and who I was meant to be. And to this day, I help men with my coaching practice to discover parts of who they were meant to be and put it together in form of integration. And so recently, last summer, I found myself being a bit unsettled. I mean, I had all my usual routines, but they didn't seem to work anymore. And some of you know what I mean. It's like you pursue the same things, you do the same things, the same routine, but you're not satisfied. So what we're tempted to do very often is to just have more of the same. So if you have one drink after work, you have two. If you pursue one type of hobby for a little bit, you pursue it more. But very rarely do we stop and think, wait a minute, something is going on here. Something deeper is going on. Maybe I should look elsewhere. I was growing dissatisfied, and I would go out in that summer vacation and just have my drink and not feel, no, it's not that. Then eat the same food, have a glass of wine. No, it just doesn't work for me anymore. So for a few days I was agonizing. And then I woke up one night feeling disturbed. Part of me, a very young part of me, I should say, was crying out. And I tune into my heart. I tune into that part of me. I tune into God. And this is what I got. My heart is dying. You brought me out here to die. You're not giving me what I want. You're killing me with your routines, with your predictability. And I said, okay. What is it that I'm depriving myself? What is it that this younger part of me was made for that I'm not giving it? And this is what came. Wild adventure. I want wild adventure. And I said, oh, okay, we'll have a wild adventure. It's almost like you're speaking to a child inside of yourself. Okay, tomorrow we're going to wake up. It's a summer vacation, summer holidays. The children are at home. Instead of doing my routines, doing my work first thing in the morning before they wake up, we'll wake up together with the children and go out into the hill behind our house and pick some blackberries, interact with nature. And this is what we did. And it was so much joy. So much joy. Because I said yes to that part of my heart, I had to repent. Because the word repent, I mean, I know people, those of you who are not into religion or faith, you're like, oh, here we go with the religious lingo. But it's not, you need to understand the word repent means to turn around. So it's almost like making a U-turn and change your mind about things. Not to say, it doesn't mean say sorry. Although this may be a part of it. It means change your mind about something, turn around, go the opposite way. So I had to repent towards, not only towards God, but also before this part of me that said, oh my goodness, I've been abusing you, I've been neglecting you, and I've been stuffing you with food, but also alcohol. Not to feel satisfied. Just have that drink to just keep me just nice and mellow. Just one beer. What's the big deal? Most of us will say, well, what's the big deal? It's just one beer. It's not about the beer. It's about what the beer is needed for. What are you suppressing by needing that beer after a hard day? Maybe you're driving yourself to exhaustion. You're not giving that venture to your heart that it was made for. And so I had to repent. And this is what happened. We kept going during that week. We kept going up the hill with my children and just enjoy and play and interact with nature. But more happened in the same week. And to give you a little bit of background, I used to go fishing as a child in our local river back in rural Bulgaria. And it was so much joy. That just kept me alive. But When I was 15 years old, I was bullied and, this guy gave me a black eye. Some of you might know the story from Men's Corner. And I stopped fishing abruptly from that summer. I was 15. Boom. And recently, ever since 2011 in Zambia, when I started returning back to life, when I turned back to God and to life, rediscovering life again, I started to love nature again. I started to go back to Bulgaria, explore nature, but I never got back into fishing. I never got so interactive with nature again. I thought that just didn't interest me anymore. However, it's very interesting that I had opened my heart to adventure in that summer, last summer, and that same week, I was given a fishing rod as a gift. My wife saw it and she just felt, oh, get this for your husband. And I said, oh, isn't that interesting? And then I shared that with a friend of mine. Everything happened within the same week. And he said, well, I've got access to this stretch of a local river. Would you like to come and fish with me? And I said, okay, why not? And oh my goodness, that first fishing trip, this joy that came back to me, this childhood, the rediscovery of childhood joy, it was irreplaceable. 1 year later, fishing is part of our life. Me and my friend go fishing all the time, almost on a weekly basis. And it's so good. It's so good. So this is always going to be a part of my life now. But this podcast is not about fishing. The interesting thing that happened ever since I started to go fishing with my friend, Richard, and thank you, Richard, was that I almost stopped drinking alcohol. Almost. My consumption of alcohol went down about 80%. Now, I did not know before that I was drinking a bit too much, because it wasn't too much. In the eyes of most people, it's kind of one beer every other day is not too much. A little bit of bourbon over the week is not too much. However, I do not compare myself to other people. I was wondering why I needed that. You see, most of us wait until things get very unhealthy, but we need to wonder if we really need something, why do we need it? Everything needs to be integrated and clear. Why are we doing what we're doing? So just like that, right now, I can testify without any effort to change my alcohol consumption. I have 1 beer a week when me and my family get together to watch a movie. And I don't seem to need more. I haven't had hard alcohol, bourbon. I mean, I used to buy 1 bottle of bourbon once a month, once every 2 months maybe. Now, I don't remember, probably was last year when I bought bourbon. So now it's May. For the last 5 months, I haven't bought any bourbon. I haven't tasted hard alcohol. Not because I'm restraining myself. I still got some in that bottle left somewhere. I just haven't needed it. So if this is you, and if you are trying to cut down on alcohol and trying to go through all these externally imposed programs, and they're all good, trust me, I'm not belittling anything. But if you're trying and they're failing, all those programs and principles are failing, think about what are you suppressing? Maybe you've lost something when you were growing up and now you need to drink just a little bit more. Or maybe you need a little bit more of this or that habit. Think about what you've lost. So to recap, we lose parts of ourselves while growing up. We need to repent and go back and get them back. We need to offer them what we had been denying them. Adventure, excitement, the things that we used to do that we're no longer doing. And we need to be willing to be childlike. We need to be willing to fail and to learn new things again. And that's one huge step to wholeness. Recover your childlike heart so that you won't need alcohol. You won't need to numb yourself. That's the way, my friends.